if your work allows you to work remotely and you want to kind of get away from the hustle and bustle and all the traffic and everything, live in a little bit slower pace, it would be a great place to live.
Yeah.
If you're looking to get away from the grind or possibly buying a second home, you're going to want to watch this video. Also, you're going to want to stick around to the end of the video because Liz has a nugget that she wants to share with you about one of her favorite activities up in the area up there by Angels Camp. So stick around to the end. If you're new to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about the Bay Area, Central Valley, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications to be the first to know all things Bay Area, Central Valley. My name is Rob. This is my wife, Lone Lady Liz, as she's known on the socials. We own Resquared Mortgage, and we get calls from people just like you every single day wanting to know how to get financing for their home. So we are here to help. If you're looking to get financing in the next 9 days or 90 days, give us a call. Shoot us an email or book a call on Liz's calendar through Zoom, and we will be happy to help you walk through the process of getting financing. We also know some amazing realtors that can help you in the process of buying your new home. So Liz, let's jump into this. So let's talk about some of the pros and cons of Angels Camp.
Yeah, so I mean, Angels Camp is like, it's a little treasure, I think. It's
for sure. It's a total hidden treasure.
I know when we first went up there the first time, you have a funny story about his parents own a home in Greenhorn Creek.
So let's talk about that for a second. I remember my parents being so excited about this lot that they had bought up in Angels Camp. I don't know, we must have been visiting for something. I don't remember the whole circumstances of why we were at my parents' home, but we were there over a weekend, and they're like, we got to show you what we just bought. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. So we're like driving. At the time, they lived in San Ramon, so it was approximately a 2-hour kind of road trip, and we're into this thing about an hour and a half, and we're kind of going through like these like rolling hills, and I'm thinking, where the crap are we going? Because it's like out in the middle of nowhere at this point where we're at in driving. And then, we get a little bit closer and we're getting into the foothills, and, you start seeing the greenery and the beauty of the foothills. And then we get into the neighborhood of where they live, which is Greenhorn Creek. And they show us, around, and it was actually, as crazy of like the experience was, thinking, where are we going? Like once we got up there, I could see like why they were so excited about moving up there.
Yeah, it's super cute. There are a lot of activities up there. I would say that's the pro as far as like nature-y kind of activities. Lots of hiking. There's a few caves in the area. One that you pay for, Moaning Caverns, I believe. We have not done that, but I think it would be fun. But they'll
I've heard a lot of great things about it.
Yeah, I think you rappel down into it, or I don't know. I guess I've seen a picture of that.
There is the opportunity to rappel down into the cavern, and from what I understand, if I remember correctly, it's like pitch dark. Like you can't see your hand in front of your face,
right.
So it's going to be a different experience, but it could be pretty cool. We've never done it, but it sounds like fun. Maybe we should do it the next time we're up.
Yeah, we totally should. The new Melones Lake is not too far from the area, so if you're like a boat person, a lake kind of family, you can rent. We rented a party boat one year. It wasn't like a houseboat. You couldn't I guess you could sleep on it if you wanted to, but it wasn't a houseboat. But you can rent jet skis and take your own. They have launches for that kind of stuff. So I think that's really fun. In the winter, it's closer to the ski resorts. If you're in Tracy, Dodge Ridge and Bear Valley are going to be a couple hours away. If you're in Angels Camp, you're that much closer. So
I think from Angels Camp, I think if we went to Dodge Ridge when we were staying up there one time, and I think it was about a 45-minute drive, so not terrible, not bad.
Yeah, you drive
Pretty-
through Sonora to
pretty
get
easy
to
trip.
Pine Crest.
And then we've
yeah.
also done Bear Valley, and it's a little bit longer drive if I remember correctly, but not. It's maybe an hour and 15 minutes. So again, still not terrible.
Yeah, but I mean that's fun. Like there's just kind of like if you're a mountain person, like it's more of that region. It's not like Tahoe, which is actually not super far away either. I mean that might be from there 2 hours. You know, if that's where there's more ski resorts in Tahoe area. But I think that that's just like a fun part of going up there is that there's hiking. If you're somebody that likes wine, there's wineries up there and wine strolls on the weekend and stuff like that. So there's definitely that. Lots of history. All the cities up in the foothills they're old gold mining towns. So they have that like old, like all the old buildings, you know, I'm going to say not compliant, but I think some of them have tried to adjust, but some of them you just can't. Like they're just the way they are, and that's part of, I guess, the charm of it is just these like really old, like in the movies, like these old downtowns. Angels Camp does have a movie theater, not the kind with like the loungy back chairs, but still like, you know, like the old, probably more from our childhood movie theaters. You know, they've got the farm. We've been to the farmers market down there before. They do have a really fun festival in May. They have gosh, what's it called?
The county fair, Calaveras.
Yeah, Calaveras County Fair, which is like the rodeo, and it's a smaller environment. So it's like that old school kind of small town charm of like the rodeo and the county fair and the.
Well, let's talk about the county fair because something kind of not at every county fair happens up there. So one thing that Angels Camp is famous for, and in fact, Mark Twain lived up in that area for like 3 or 4 months, and he kind of put Angels Camp on the map when he shared a story about the celebrated jumping frog. And that kind of put Angels Camp on the map. And so Angels Camp is very famous for their jumping frogs, and at their annual carnival every year. I guess it's not a carnival, but the
fair,
the county fair.
There's a
every year
jumping.
there is a frog jumping contest that they do.
Yeah,
and it's serious.
It's
serious business. Like people go out and hunt for frogs to find the best jumpers.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a Netflix series that talked about and had a whole show on the Calaveras jumping frogs in the series. So, yeah. So if you want to check that out, it is on Netflix somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but you could probably put in Calaveras jumping frogs and it'll pull up.
Yeah. So like some other things I love about it is up higher elevation. So, but not so far up that it snows a lot. Like maybe once a year it might snow in Angels Camp. In Greenhorn Creek where Rob's parents live, there's a golf course. I think it is public, right? It's not private. Yeah,
nope,
it's a public golf course, and that's really beautiful. You know, did I say not a lot of light pollution? So you can see the stars. You know, it's a little more season changing. So it's beautiful. Like, oh my gosh, if nothing else, you should take a drive up there in, I would say February, March, when the hills are green and it's just miles and miles of beautiful green grassy hills and the cows and the deer, and you know, it's just so magical. So I definitely think that that's a fun time. It does in May turns like that California golden, so it's not forever. So if you come and look for houses in February and then you don't move here till June, you're gonna have a surprise. So and that's actually the whole state, but because I remember when your parents were moving to San Ramon, hearing your mom say she thought the hills were green all the time, and they're not. So I thought that was funny. So I don't know. I think that's kind of my list of pros. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I don't have anything else to add.
Okay, so we'll just talk about some of before we talk about, this is like a pro or a con, I think. So just as far as airports go, if you're going to, actually, maybe there's a couple of things. As far as airports go, you're probably going to fly out of Sacramento Or Stockton does have a small airport. It doesn't
very
go
limited.
a lot of places, but
Yeah, if you're wanting to go to like Las Vegas, I would certainly look at
Arizona. The flight is Allegiant from
Yeah.
Stockton to, and then you can just map it on.
So I would definitely look at if you're going to Arizona or like Las Vegas, I would look at the Stockton Airport because it's very convenient.
Yeah.
There are very limited flights, so
Right.
and you can just pull up to the airport.
Oh yeah, it's like the easiest airport.
Parking
ever.
is cheap, and like just hop on your plane.
It's super easy. The one thing, and this is the pro or the con, like it's kind of, I think, at least Greenhorn Creek is a little bit more of a retired community, a retirement community. So, there's these big, beautiful houses, and they're custom built. You buy the lot, you build a house on it. Like it's that kind of a
Yeah, I would say that
environment.
the majority of Greenhorn Creek is custom built. Not all of them, but I would say probably 90%
Yeah.
or more is a custom build up there, but not all of them.
Yeah, you're going to get a small town feel there, which is charming. Like there's one high school, there's going to be in the Greenhorn Creek specifically a lot of retired families up there. So it just depends what you want for if you have young kids, like what do you want? That might be some of the charm, is that it's kind of out there.
You're not going to find it, especially like in Angels Camp and kind of the surrounding towns. You might be able to drive up to like Sonora.
Yeah, there's a
And
Walmart.
there's a
in
Walmart
Sonora.
there, but in Angels Camp, you're not going to find that. Pro or con, most of the businesses are going to be family run businesses. You do have like a McDonald's, a Taco Bell, a Round Table Pizza, but those are really the only like chain restaurants. Everything else is going to be kind of a mom and pop restaurant, which is not bad.
Yeah. It's just like a heads up.
Yeah.
There are some of the communities. So there's lots of little towns, Jamestown, Murphys, Jackson. There's all those little towns around there. They all have their own kind of unique downtown feel. So yeah, I think it's really fun, and people do love living up there. And I don't know that a lot of them have Airbnb restrictions. So we've definitely had clients buy like cabins up there and then Airbnb them. I mean, double check the community. If you're up into Pinecrest, I think there's some really specific rules in Pinecrest for Airbnb. But we've definitely had clients buy cabins that they then Airbnb. So.
Yeah. You brought up it being up in Gold Country a little bit ago, and I mean certainly you could find a stream or a river that if you wanted to pan for gold, you certainly could do that. You also mentioned that they have wineries up there and wine tasting. At one of the wineries up there, they do, I believe it's the largest gold nugget on display.
Yeah, I think so.
At one of the wineries there. It's pretty cool. We've gone and seen it. I mean, it is pretty massive. It's quite impressive.
Yeah, it's not like the size of my fist.
No,
like,
it's like
a gigantic rock.
it's like a huge size gold nugget.
So it's pretty cool.
I don't know, maybe it's not a gold nugget. I mean, it's
maybe it's a rock with like plating.
it's just
I don't know.
it's just I mean it's big.
Yeah, it is big. Yeah. Okay, so I would say some of the cons might be that you are a little bit isolated. So again, like you've got to drive 30 minutes to Walmart, hit the Costco on your way in from Stockton. There's a great Costco in Manteca if you're driving that way on the 120. Things are going to shut down a little bit earlier, right? You're not going to have restaurants and bars and stuff open after 10, very likely. So that could be an issue. Some of the shopping. There is an Ace Hardware. I mean, we shop online a lot, so it's like, where's the closest post office, UPS store? So just kind of keep that in mind. I don't even know if that's a really big deal.
Yes, Liz, when was the last time you actually went to a store to shop?
Yeah, never. Online, I just narrow down the thing you want in your size and show me all the things. So, I mean, I just don't know that it's a huge deal. Lots of antique shops. I feel like the Foothills are full of antique shops, which is kind of fun, But I would say there is a hospital up there. There are some doctors, but if you are somebody that has some health issues and you need to have closer access to healthcare, that could be a huge con. We've had clients move up into the foothills to retire and then moved back down into the valley because they're not close enough to their doctors. So that can be an issue. So why are you grinning?
Well, it just reminds me of a story. I probably shouldn't say it, but we did have a mishap at one of the ski resorts with a nephew that did need the hospital, broken arm, and it took a long time for the ambulance to get up to the ski resort. Yeah, and then it was a long drive to the closest hospital, which was, I think, up in Sonora.
Also, you know what I just thought of is I was pregnant with our second kid. Who was 4 weeks early. So he had no business. I had no business going to labor 4 weeks early. And we were in Angels Camp, President's Day weekend. And I went into labor. And to get to our hospital, because, I mean, we could have delivered a baby at the hospital there, but it wasn't. We had Kaiser, so we needed to go to a Kaiser hospital. I didn't want to have a baby in Stockton. No offense to Stockton. But also, I didn't want to have a baby in Stockton. So
you didn't want the birth certificate.
I didn't want the birth certificate
to say Stockton.
Which is, I know you'll do a video on Stockton, so it's not all bad. But, I mean, really, just like my doctor's in Walnut Creek. So that's where, anyway, that was like, I mean, you were going fast.
So it was the middle of the night.
3 a.m.
It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. We had no gas in the car. Oh, so we had to go get gas. And then we had to drive to Walnut Creek. Yeah. And I remember, like, at the point where we had to make a decision of either going to Stockton or...
And we didn't know where the hospital was in Stockton.
Or to Walnut Creek.
So it wasn't... And we didn't have, like... It was before your cell phone had a map. So it was like... We could get lost in Stockton while I'm in labor, or we just drive to Walnut Creek. And anyway, it took us like 2.5 or 3 hours.
I remember saying, do you want to go to Stockton or do you want to go to Walnut Creek? I think I said, I'll get you to the hospital in 45 minutes.
It's like Walnut Creek.
And so she's like, Walnut Creek. Yeah. I don't know if I got you there in 45 minutes, but I was probably exceeding the speed limit.
Yes. Yeah. That was crazy. So yeah, anyway, the hospitals are not close necessarily. I mean, it just depends. But your doctor's, like, if you have to go to the cardiologist in Stanford, that's going to be a trek. Yeah. So, maybe if you are a younger person wanting to work, there's not going to be a ton of jobs up there. So maybe remote work is going to be the best solution. You know, there's just something to keep in mind. Lots of like small local jobs maybe, but if your work allows you to work remotely, it would be, and you want to kind of get away from the hustle and bustle and all the traffic and everything, and you want to kind of live in a little bit slower pace, and you can do that because you have the availability of working from home, it would be a great place to live. Yeah, and I think at one point in time it was a more affordable place than, I think it's gotten more expensive for sure, but there was a space in time where you could get a pretty good size house or build a good size house in that area. It was more affordable. But something that is really important if you're shopping in the area for a house is you need to have a really good connection with an insurance agent, because the insurance in the foothills is going to be very expensive because of the fire zone. So you very likely are going to have 2 insurances. Your insurance that covers your house, like if your dishwasher leaks, like we all have that insurance. And then there's a California Fair Plan insurance. And there's all these rules about insurance and how close you are to the nearest fire station, and but just so if there's a way to investigate how much is the insurance on this house before you spend a lot of emotional energy and just time in buying that house. Like I had one this was Placerville, but it's still like foothills. The insurance on it was $16,000 a year, and they didn't know that until they got into contract, and then it was like, so then they canceled the contract. So I just think it's super important. Look at your insurance, and if it might be worth the cost of it, so not a big deal, but just know insurance is going to be more expensive in the foothills because there's just been lots of fires.
Anything anything else that you would like to add?
I don't think so. I think those are the things that come to the top of mind.
All right, let's talk about what everybody's been waiting for.
Oh yeah, the moment. Yeah, so one of the things that I love about the area that you can do with your family of small kids, there's a hike called Natural Bridges, and it's free. So ding 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 there. I mean, you might have to pay for parking. I think at one point in time we didn't have to pay for parking. Then we went another time and it was $10. So I mean, just you might have to pay for parking. But there's a parking lot at the top of the hill, and then you hike down into what is called Natural Bridges. And the cool thing about it is there's like a stream that runs through the area, and then it goes into this like cave. And sometimes you think like, oh, maybe it's like an overpass and there's a road and whatever, it's concrete, but it's actually not. It's really a cave that has like stalactites or stalagmites, whatever. But you float on a tube into, and it's not like rushing water. Like it's like you get in the tube and kind of like paddle your way down, and it's like this beautiful cave, and you're just like in a tube under the water, like under this beautiful cave, and the water is freezing, so just a heads up there. But the hike down to it is hot, so it's perfect to get into the cold water. Something I love about it that we did was we did it when it was like me and my mother-in-law and my sisters-in-law and all of our kids. So we had like ranged from like mom, one person had like a pouch with like carrying their kid, and then up to like 14 or 15. So all the ages in between, like 10 kids in between. And so it's just the kind of hike that you can do with smaller kids. And I'm not saying nobody will complain, because they are children, but they're capable of doing that kind of a hike. So be careful if it's like you have maybe bad knees or something, because it is like you're hiking down to a river and into like a cave area, and you have to hike back up. But it's not like I wouldn't say that it's like stroller friendly. Some parts of it might be, but it's not. Like you're gonna want to pack. If you have a baby, you're gonna want to pack or have a backpack or something. But yeah, I just think it's really cute, and it's easy. It's something easy to do on a weekend, and it's fun. It's
awesome.
Really pretty.
Thanks for sharing. Like I mentioned earlier, if you are looking for a new home and need financing, we get calls every single day, text messages. So please reach out, give us a call, shoot us a text, or schedule an appointment. We're here to help. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right. Good job.